Hello, this is Ollie's Movie Madness, and I'm here to talk about Ultron returning to the MCU. To be completely honest, I don't really care that Ultron is coming back because the MCU just fumbled him in Avengers Age of Ultron. The reason why is that that movie marketed itself as a horror movie, and Ultron sounded really scary. The problem is, when the movie came out, it was just another horrible MCU comedy film, and that is why it is one of my least favorite MCU films, and one of the most disappointing movies I have ever seen, because I was actually somewhat looking forward to Age of Ultron. And I watched it, at first I liked it, but then I'm like, yeah, this movie's a big mess. And Ultron is the biggest reason, because he had so much potential, and they just made him into a joke, a generic MCU villain. So, James Spader was horribly cast. I think they should have gotten someone like Jamie Kimmel Bower or an AI program. I think that would have been better. To be honest, I think Vecna would have been a lot more threatening as Ultron, Jamie Kimmel Bower, because he had an on-screen presence. But an AI program would have been the more logical choice to go instead of casting a human actor. So, Vision killed him, whatever, cool scene, I don't care, James Spader was terrible. Then What If brought back Ultron as Infinite Ultron. And that one, in my opinion, and I guess everyone else who's seen What If, was the definitive Ultron in the MCU. He was threatening, he was scary, he killed the Watcher, he killed a lot of people, he's really powerful. And, people love that interpretation of Ultron. People say, oh, that's Ultron done better than the one in the movie. So, that one's really great. But then, last year, we heard that Ultron is coming back. And it's in this show called Vision Quest. And my question is, why bother? Because they're going to cast James Spader again. He's going to play himself, actually. If you don't know this, they're going to make Ultron 99% human. And then they're going to make him into a robot in the final episode. They might tone down his humor, but I'm not holding my breath. I am not falling for that false marketing bullshit. Because the MCU tricked us before with the whole Kang thing. Like, Kang was supposed to be the big villain, but he gets beaten up by Ant-Man. Ironically, I think Jonathan Majors as Kang was more tolerable to watch than James Spader as Ultron. So they're going to pull that baloney again, lying to their viewers in the trailers, and then we'll just get a generic MCU show. And Ultron could be really stupid again, like he was back in 2015. But that's not the only thing they're bringing back. They're bringing in Joe Costa. Now, if you don't know what this thing is, I'm about to say, it is Ultron's girlfriend. It's his love interest. And what she does is that she's essentially Danger Room. Ultron falls in love with her. Somehow they mate, and he gets her pregnant, and they have a Sentinel baby. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it's a what if comic, so anything can happen. But that's Joe Costa's origin. Now, you may think, oh, are they going to make her menacing? Are they going to make her, like, not overly silly? Well, no. And the reason why they're going to cast a human actress. Now, I did look up this actress, and I haven't seen anything with her, so I don't know how she is as an actor in terms of, like, shows I've seen of her in. But for what I saw, people say she's a great actress. But her voice in Joe Costa, that's a really weird choice. It should have just been an AI machine. I think they're going to make Joe Costa into a joke. And fun fact, I actually written a What If episode. It's called What If Win Woo Became a NASCAR Racer. And in that episode, Joe Costa is the main villain. She is. And she does tell AI jokes. She stays scary throughout the whole episode. And she has an on-screen presence. So yeah, they're going to butcher both Ultron and Joe Costa. But the really stupid thing is that They bring back Ultron, but yet you can't have Data be the leader in Brave New World. That's what I thought they should have done. If they bring back Ultron, put Short Round in Brave New World. And the reason why, because Harrison Ford is in Brave New World, and that would be really funny. Just have Short Round messing with Indy's head over the phone. Just him telling Ross to like let out all the rage. And then he just screams at the top of his lungs after he says, "We can fix this." He says, "You cheat, Dr. Jones." And he just chucks the phone on the ground. And he causes Ross to become the Red Hulk. That would have been a lot more funnier. And I wrote that What If episode. It's called What If Short Round Controlled President Ross instead of the leader. And that episode, Short Round is a lot more threatening than Ultron is. So how pathetic is it that I create better villains and dialogue than the MCU can ever do with Ultron? And to be honest, no one really cared about Ultron coming back. We didn't really care. I didn't even care what they did with Kang, because yeah, Kang's a good villain, but they just kind of fumbled him. And then they fumbled Doctor Doom with Robert Downey Jr. So yeah, they're going to make Robert Downey Jr. into a horrible Doctor Doom. So the MCU has not made good villains. In fact, the last two great villains were Galactus and The Void. Those were the last two good villains we had in the MCU. But now that we're bringing back Ultron and Jocasta, who's going to be introduced, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, they're going right back to their old ways of making terrible villains. And at this point, I don't care if Ultron's coming back. In fact, I hope they never use him again. But unfortunately, they're going to use him again in Secret Wars. I predict they're going to use Ultron in Secret Wars and make him into a joke. And I'm making my own Avengers trilogy. And Ultron is the villain in part 3, but yet here's the funny thing. No actor. It's all going to be computerized. And I don't know what the MCU is doing. They're obviously being stupid. They don't know what they're doing. So, final thoughts. I think Ultron coming back is really stupid and really weird. They're going to fumble it. James Spader going to give another horrible performance. The only thing I like in Vision Quest is maybe the character of Vision, maybe Randall Park. That's another thing, though. What other characters are going to be in it? Frankly, I don't care. And, again, making Ultron into a human is so stupid. So, anyway, that is my thoughts on Ultron returning to the MCU. It's a stupid idea. It's going to fail. And Ultron is still going to be a terrible MCU villain. So, that is my thoughts on Ultron returning to the MCU. Hope you guys enjoyed.